Good evening, everyone. Yes, the wildfires in California have been devastating. I've seen a lot of damage, and I pray for everyone that's been affected by the fires down there. And the air quality is not any better, even if you're not near the fires themselves. But good evening, Sal, Gianna Marie, Pippadot, Gone Girl, and Zelda. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. All right, there are a total of four different areas around the United States and in Canada that are known as the Highway of Tears. The original Highway of Tears is what we are doing trivia on tonight. The Highway of Tears started, and the murders and disappearances there started back in the early 1960s. All the other places in America, Oregon, California, and Texas, and there's another one in Oklahoma that have all used the names Highway of Tears or Highway of something along that line, some variation of it. But this is the original Highway of Tears, is tonight's trivia subject. It is a give you a second here. I'll tell you. It's a 725 kilometer, 450-mile highway that goes from Prince George to Prince Rupert in British Columbia. A 450-mile stretch. Kitiku, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. So, just noticed I bounced my hand on the table. The camera is touching the actual table. The tripod is touching the table. So if I bounce it, the whole thing's like. Gemma! Good evening, Gemma. I didn't study and forgot it was Sunday. LOL. My kids have been out of school for 3 weeks now. Are they still out of school? My son went back to school last week. Last week he went back. And well, I finally was able to catch up on a lot of work and answering emails and everything else and getting back to people. I mean, I haven't been 3 weeks behind, but it took some time. Some of them were a lot more delayed than I wanted them to be. Jimmy's LMB, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Give it another minute and a half here, and then we'll get the trivia going. Yes, no school tomorrow either. All the snow and ice. Oh, that's right. You guys got hammered with snow and ice down there, or over there, however you want to look at it, depending on where you are in the world. Over, up. Juicy Jules. Good evening, Juicy Jules. Will, you have not been able to find the page 2 news. Last week's page 2 news, Pippadot, I did see your comment. I just didn't have a chance to reply to it. But last week's was not a live stream. It was a premiere video. I'm testing out different formats for page 2 news. So if you'll find it underneath the playlist as a regular video. It is not a live stream. How is Crystal Gone Girl asks? She's doing as good as she can, sweetheart. Doing as good as she can. She has her ups and down days right now. Hopefully here within a week, she'll get all of her her medications. Because of the new year and the switch over from one medical coverage to another. She was a little bit behind, like 3 days behind in getting her medications, and then her doctor changed a couple of dosages of different medications. So And when right now it's looking like we're gonna switch all of everybody in the family. We're gonna switch our pharmacy to believe it or not, Amazon, because ordering through Amazon, it actually is not coming from a warehouse someplace. They actually contract out to a compound pharmacist that is local. It's actually about 4 blocks from us, so it'll be a lot quicker and plus home delivery. You sent me an email. I will look for it after tonight's stream. All right, let's get the trivia going, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 338th episode of Trivia. Thank you, Gone Girl. Tonight's subject matter again is the Highway of Tears. This is a Trans-Canada Highway 16 is what they call the Highway of Tears, Highway 16. If you're new here, I would like to welcome you to Sunday night's trivia. This is a fun and relaxed group of people who are here to have fun and learn something new. You don't have to keep score. You don't have to do much of anything. Just be in the live chat. Make sure you are on live chat, not top chat. And treat others as you wish to be treated. If you get out of hand, I'll bounce you so fast your ISP will cry. And you'll want to marry your first cousin again. And I mean it. Just relax and have fun. All right, so this is kind of like a breakdown of what the actual each and every one of the pictures you're going to see on your screen looks like for the trivia night and how the game works. The picture that is shown may be used to deceive you, so do not go by the picture as the possible clue to what the answer may be. Each question will be numbered from 1 to 20. You can either answer A, B, C, D, or E. E is always other. You can add your own comical answer as E. E will never be the complete, or the right answer, but it will definitely be a funny answer. Knowing this group of people, they put some pretty interesting ones in there. And good evening, Rykard. Welcome to tonight's trivia. But that's how it's all laid out. A, B, C, or D is and E is always the other choice. This program documents and covers actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Question number 1 is on your screen. Question 1 of 20 of the Highway of Tears. How long is the Highway of Tears officially? This is in miles, not in kilometers. So, for you people who are in Canada and other parts of the world, I'm sorry. I did put this all in miles and not in kilometers. Is it A, 450 miles, B, 775 miles, C, 659 miles, D, 100,000 miles, or E, other? A, B, C, D, or E? Left-handed RN, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. See, you'll either see all messages or top messages. So in that case, Pippadot, you want to be on all messages. Some people, depending upon the devices and where you're actually connected to when it comes to YouTube, you will see 2 options: either live chat or top chat. You never want to be on top chat if you can avoid it. But if those are your only options of all chat or top chat, go with all chat. The Finn. Hello and welcome to tonight's trivia, The Finn. Question number 1 of 20. How long is the Highway of Tears officially? Again, the Highway of Tears runs from Prince George to Prince Rupert in British Columbia. The correct answer is A as in apple. 450 miles or 750 kilometers. Oh, sorry, 725 kilometers. Question number 2. What year did the murders and disappearances along the Highway of Tears begin? Was it A, 1950, early 1950s, B, early 1960s, C, not early 1970s, D, in the year 2525, if man is still alive, or E, other? Ooh, Lieutenant RN is 28 degrees where she is, and it's got 2 to 3 inches of snow. Wow. We have gotten no snow here. It's not uncommon, though. We live in what's called a high desert plateau, but we have gotten no snow at all this year. Well, this winter, I should say, this season. And by the time January is the coldest, December, January, the first part of January, are the coldest parts of the year for us. So if we don't get snow in the next week, we're not going to get any. Rock card. D, of course. See, I thought it was 1969. Tennessee, you got 4 inches. You got 4 inches of snow in Tennessee. Oh boy. Lieutenant RN, you're in North Carolina. Wow. You got all that snow in North Carolina. Are you near the, must be near the mountains or something, or? The Finn is going with B. And hello to the Finn again. All right, question number 2. The correct answer is B as in boy. The very first murder that was discovered along Highway 16, they had not given it the name the Highway of Tears yet, but along Highway 16, just outside of Prince Rupert, was where they found the first victim. It was in early 1960. The year 1960. That individual's remains has yet to be identified. Even using DNA testing, they still do not have an identity for that individual. She is listed as Jane Doe number 1 on the list of official victims of the Highway of Tears. Jane Doe number 1. Question number 3. According to the RCMP official task force in 2006, how many cases are officially linked to the Highway of Tears? Is it A, 100,000, B, 98, C, 68, D, 18, or E, other? But you're in Canada, Southern Point. My sister lives back in Minnesota, but we're originally from Wisconsin, and in both places, where she lives in upper state of Minnesota, she's close to the Canadian border. They got hammered with snow. They got a lot of snow, especially last week. But they already had snow before that. In our homestead, back at on the farm in Wisconsin, I think my nephew said that they got about 4.5 inches of snow total is what they have right now. A whole blistering 10 degrees. Well, they get what's called lake effect snow there in both places. So it's a lot of it. Rackard's going with 144,000. E. Jamie's going with C. Gianna Marie B. Lieutenant RN and Sal are both going with C. How many women are officially on the RCMP? And RCMP stands for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. RCMP. So you may see those initials come up multiple times throughout the stream tonight. And it's question number 3, and I just realized I didn't put myself in my little window. Little Will in his little window. Okay, but question number 3, the correct answer is C as in cat. 68 women from 1960 all the way to 2023. There are 68 women who have officially been listed as victims or disappearing along the Highway of Tears. Again, it's 725 kilometers, 450 miles of highway from Prince George to Prince Rupert in British Columbia. But 68 women are officially listed on there. But there's a difference between officially listed and murdered victims, and then there are women who are also just listed as vanished. And we'll get into it, and you'll find out why there's such a discrepancy. And it's always been one of the main issues about it. Why they can't just have one master list for everything. People who have been missing for 30 years, why can't they just be listed as dead? Or been victims of, whatever happened. It's insane. Did you know some years along Highway 16 in Canada, they averaged 4 or 5 women disappearing a year to never be seen again, while the RCMP just kept telling families they were runaways or probably out partying. This went on for 30 years. Well, thank you for gifting them memberships, Left Hand RN. That was really nice of you to do that. All right. But this went on for 30 years. They just kept on telling them now they're probably runaways or they're out, partying it up. They're not missing. They just, we'll take a report. But question number 4 of 20. What factor makes the true number of victims of the Highway of Tears uncertain? What factor makes the true number of victims of the Highway of Tears uncertain? Is it the RCMP official rules? B, half of the victims' cases were lost. C, 3/4 of the victims' cases were lost. Or D, no missing person report. Or E, other. Question number 4 of 20. What a shame they didn't care. Oh, that was really nice of Gone Girl to do it as well. I didn't see it until just now, but it's really nice of both of them to do that. I really appreciate that. Question number 4 of 20. Thank you again to Mary and to Left-Handed RN for doing that. I appreciate it. What factor makes the true number of victims of the Highway of Tears uncertain? We'll get into it. This is just part of it. We'll find out exactly why. Secluded Works, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. You love the song 2525? Was that Medgar Evers? In the year 2525, if man is still alive. Great song. Haven't heard it in a while, but I mean, I can hear like the melody playing in my head. All right. The correct answer to question number 4 is A as in apple. RCMP official rules is what makes the true number of victims of the Highway of Tears uncertain. To be considered a missing person case and connected victim to the Highway of Tears, each and every person who is listed on the list must meet the following criteria. 1, there must be a missing persons report. In the earlier years, like say like 1960s, a lot in 70s and 80s, a lot of these people, the women that disappeared, the reports were taken by actual tribal police or other police departments, Mounties and stuff, and they didn't follow through with them. They just kind of figured, well, these people will come back, whatever. But there must be an official missing persons report filed, number 1. Number 2, in order for them to be listed as a victim of the Highway of Tears, they must have been seen within 2 kilometers last of Highway 16. They may not. Okay, was there somebody who saw them on Highway 16 or within 2 kilometers of Highway 16? 3, this is another criteria. They must have vanished between 1960 and 2023. If they vanished after 2023, they are listed individually on a completely separate database. And yes, there are women who have vanished after 2023. There are seven women vanished after the cutoff date. So 1960 to 2023. Number 4 criteria is the requirement for the victim must meet what they call the victimology, between a certain age and not having the ability to or access to a motor vehicle. Were they hitchhiking? Were they taking a ride from somebody? They have to meet the victimology, and there's a whole list of things we don't have time for that breaks down for the different victimology. And number 5 on the list is they could not have been reported as a runaway 12 months prior to them actually vanishing. Those are the 5 requirements that the RCMP have in place in order to be listed on the possible victims of the Highway of Tears. If you were a runaway and then you vanished again, while hitchhiking on Highway 16 between Prince Rupert and Prince George, well, sorry, but you're not going to be listed as a victim of the Highway of Tears. Their rules, not mine. Question number 5 of 20. Victim demographics. What demographic makes up the vast majority of all the victims? Is it A, they're under the age of 17 and white? B, under the age of 30 and are native indigenous women? C, under the age of 60 and are Hispanic of ethnicity? Or D, under the age of 16 and are of a mixed race? Or E, other? What victim demographic makes up a vast majority of all the victims? Oh, you'll find out about it, Jammies, a little bit later on here. That comes up about the access to a car. It definitely comes up. Record B! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Smoke them if you got them. Question number 5 of 20. Just Jules going with C. Seclusion works. Going with B. RCMP has a lot of work to do. They are pathetic. Some of it has been their fault and their lack of caring. And then there's been a lot of tying their hands behind their backs, if someone would say. They were hamstrung, as another way to say it, about the RCMP. They could only do so much. And we'll get it. We'll find out more about it as we go on here, though. All right, question number 5. The correct answer is B as in boy. Under the age of 30 and native indigenous women are the vast majority of all the victims. And no, there have been a couple that have been over the age of 30 years of age. So it's not been all. That's why it says vast majority. There are a couple that are over the age of 30. One was 34 that it comes to mind, and the other one was 37. All right, question number 6. What social issue is closely tied to 100% of the cases of the missing and murdered women officially on the Highway of Tears list? Is it A, they were all drug addicts? B, they were all indigenous women? C, they were all Barry Morphew fans? Or D, systemic racism and poor? Or E, other? What was the answer to number 3, Pippa Dot? Was C as in cat. What social issue is closely tied to 100% of the cases of the missing and murdered women officially on the Highway of Tears list? Kitty cute. D? Question mark? I don't know. It could be D. It could be. We don't know. We'll find out. Jammies is going with A. Rackar, all the above. Fans of Barry Morphew, indigenous drug addicts, and poor, and racism. All right, question number 6. The correct answer is D as in dog. Systemic racism and poor. I don't have a nice way to put this, so I'm going to put it exactly how I feel about it. The RCMP, when it came to taking reports of missing indigenous women, they didn't frankly give a shit. They didn't care if they were dead or where they were. They looked at them as if they were nothing and their lives didn't matter. They figured that the people within their own communities would figure out what happened. And in a lot of cases, they figured that these women were probably murdered by their boyfriends in a drunken rage because of the alcoholism that runs rampant in some of these communities. When they started to find out that that a lot of these women had vanished, while either hiking or ride share situation or whatever, hitchhiking along Highway 16, and they weren't murdered in their own villages and townships. They finally had to admit, oh shit, we really dropped the ball here. We really should have started taking these cases a lot more serious. They didn't start an inquiry again into the missing women from these villages until 2006 is when they took on the real first inquiry. The first victim was in 1960. 1960, and it wasn't until 2006 that they really started to take it seriously. That's an awfully long time to just not care what happens to an entire portion of your population. Did you know all of the years the RCM found remains of dead women, never tested them for DNA, nor told the media or grassroots groups that they had remains? Some remains were just tossed into a plain box for the next 30 years. All the years that you see there, 1967, 1969, 1974, 1975, 1978, 1979, 1983, 1984, and 1990. All of those years, when the RCMP found remains of an actual victim, they didn't even bother to tell the media. They didn't test them or really care about solving the crime. And some of the victims' bones were in remains and their clothing or whatever they could collect up from the crime scene was just thrown into a plain cardboard box and given a number, just the actual case number. That was all they were ever given. And they sat there in a warehouse forever. 30 years, some of them sat there and nobody bothered to even look at them again. Because every time a detective or somebody looks at it, they have to sign in. And there was no one. No one cared once they ended up, in storage. And that's sad. All those families who never knew that their loved ones were possibly been found, or that the case could have been solved and they could have had closure that somebody did something to their family member. They just left them, put them in the warehouse and said, that's it. Well, we're done with it. We can't solve this case, without even really trying. And that is terrible. Question number 7 of 20. What is one reason many victims along the Highway of Tears were so vulnerable? Was it A, lack of public transportation or cars? 2, B, poverty and drug abuse issues? C, the RCM said there were no issues? D, it was illegal to ride share? Or E, other? Gone girl, I hate the RCMP. They have definitely dropped the ball on a lot of things over the years, Gone Girl. Definitely have. Jamie says, I'm sorry for them and their families that never knew anything. I know he's no longer or he's soon to be not to be the prime minister, Trudeau. But Trudeau, in his time in office, has done more work to help solve these cases than anyone else, and that's sad. That's really sad that it took this long for someone there to take it seriously and to say that there really is an issue here. They are a sham, says Gone Girl. Question number 7 of 20. What is one reason many victims along the Highway of Tears were so vulnerable? Karma will get the RCMP, hopefully. Karma or Dharma. Yes, that's true, Will. All right, the correct answer to question number 7 of 20 is A as in apple. lack of public transportation or cars. Again, most of these indigenous populations, very few people have cars, and especially ones that if they can maybe get it in around town. But if you need to go shopping or you need to go to a larger community to, to get something, the only way to get there is to get on Highway 16 or one of the other major arteries that connect into Highway 16. Because in these poor communities, they don't put up a Walmart in a poor community. They put those in a major metropolitan area and then drive all the small businesses out. But you have to go. You have to find some way to get there. And ride sharing or hitchhiking or whatever, it was the only way to get from one village to township or whatever to another. So they became vulnerable because they were out by themselves in a lot of cases. Question number 8. What task force was created to investigate the Highway of Tears murders? Was it A, the RCMP Group 5, B, the Project E Pena, C, the Flowers Project, D, the Veil Inquiry, or E, other? What task force was created to investigate the Highway of Tears murders? RRH, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Didn't most of these happen out of on the countryside while? Didn't most of these happen out on the countryside while hitchhiking? RRH, the answer is that most of them were hitchhiking or maybe they had a car and the car broke down and then they started walking and then somebody got them after that. But not out hiking, but yeah, hitchhiking, definitely. A lot of them were. Carly, good evening, Carly, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number 8 of 20. Gianna Marie, A, B? Kitty Q going with A and a question mark. What task force was set up to created to investigate the Highway of Tears murders? Whomever gifted me a membership, thank you very much. So kind. Catherine, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. It was either Left-Handed RN or Gone Girl. It was one of the two that I saw the one, but I didn't see the other one, and I'm truly sorry, Gone Girl, that I did not see yours. You gifted memberships as well. But question number 8, the correct answer is B as in boy. Project E Pena is the task force that was set up to investigate the murders along the Highway of Tears. Again, Highway of Tears is Highway 16 that runs between Prince George and Prince Rupert in British Columbia. It is 725 kilometers long or 450 miles. Question number 9. The first victim vanished without a trace, officially listed as murdered along the Highway of Tears in 1960. When did E. Pena start? When did they start the actual investigation into it? Was it A, 1990, B, 2005, C, 2020, D, 1999, or E, other? Question number 9 of 20. I was a truck driver, but not in Canada. Ooh. We have another truck driver in here. RRAH used to be a truck driver, as I'm guessing by past tense, that's how you say it. I was not current, but we have another truck driver with us later, our previous truck driver. Got Reichardt in here, who, current truck driver, is out there on the roads of America somewhere. Question number 9 of 20. Got a little bit of everything here. Bees. A, B, A and B. If I remember right, it was after the family protested. Oh, seclusion works. There have been multiple protests by the families and loved ones of these missing women over the years. Sometimes it's garnered attention from the media. Other times they were just ignored. But when I think the one you're actually thinking of is when they blocked the Highway 16. They all joined arms and marched down Highway 16, the Highway of Tears, blocking the entire thing. So people had to pay attention to them. Excuse me. 10-4. Copy to that, Will. All right, question number 9. The correct answer is B. B as in boy. In 2005 is when they started EPANA, or however you pronounce it, EPANA. I'm not sure what that actually means. I tried looking it up. I found several different answers for what EPANA means, depending upon it. It could be a word, investigation in different circles, in different cultures. I don't know. Somebody else who probably know. RCMP hasn't done a thing. Question number 10. Besides Highway of Tears being Highway 16, what other two connecting highways have seen triple the national average of murders? Was it A, Highway 11, Highway and 5, B, Highway 99 and Highway 7, C, Highway 97 and Highway 5, D, Highway 12 and Highway 2, or E, other? Haven't they solved these though? Carly, they solved a total of 2 that I am aware of. We will get into Bobby Jack Flowers later on in the trivia. Bobby Jack Flowers, but no, solving 2 or 3 of them is not anywhere. It's a drop in the bucket. We already know that there are well over 68 women on the priority first list of those who are officially victims of the Highway of Tears. You solve a couple, it ain't a whole lot. Kitty Coo? No clue. Going with C. 5 of the RCM units and Pana was the god who cared for the souls in the underworld before they were reincarnated. Oh, thank you. I saw several solved as homicides online, says Sal. I'll have to look into it later, Sal. According to my notes here, though, besides the one individual, Bobby Jack Flowers, all right, question number 10. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Highway 97 and Highway 5 saw triple the national average for murders that were confirmed to have happened along them. Highway 97 and Highway 5. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but there's something. History you should know. Worldwide, indigenous women have never been a priority of any government to find or solve their murders. More indigenous women are missing in Honduras than anywhere else in the world. Estimation is over 2,000 indigenous women from Honduras are missing. 2,000 women in Honduras missing. Nobody knows what happened to them. They're just here today, gone tomorrow. But indigenous women have never been a priority for law enforcement to solve. And it's so true even to this day. In America, in Canada, and everywhere else around the world, where another group has come in and taken over, and pushed the indigenous people aside. It is now break time. If you're new here, after the first 10 questions, we take a 6-minute break. You do what you need to do for the next 6 minutes. Use the facilities, smoke a bowl, shotgun a couple of beers, do what you need to do. Pour yourself, a nice stiff drink, make a glass of tea. I don't care. You do what you need to do for the next 6 minutes. And then we'll be back after that for the last 10 questions. Plus, at the end of it all, I highlight, cases of people who are missing and endangered here in America, where I am working with the Charlie Project, Name Us, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the FBI to help put a spotlight on these missing cases from across the United States. That is after trivia, but in 6 minutes, we'll be back from our break and we'll do 10 more questions. Finish dinner. There you go. You can do that. Wikipedia has it under victims. No, it is not how we treat people. Every life matters. Every life. Doesn't matter if you're indigenous, black, brown, purple, green. I don't care. Every life matters. My husband was a native. I saw the ignorance. I'm sorry. The thin. I'm truly sorry. When I was younger, my mom actually used to volunteer during the summertime on the Pine Ridge Reservation. And a couple of times, when I was younger, when my father would take me, from our home in Wisconsin there to pick her up because she worked with a nonprofit that was helping bring medical care to the Native Americans who lived on the Pine Ridge Reservation. This is way before the shootout that would with Leonard Peltier, way before any of that stuff ever came down. But there are reservations in America, ladies and gentlemen, that don't have running water, don't have electricity, or even sewer. They're third world countries, basically, inside of America, and we don't even pay attention to them. They have no sewer system, no running water, and no electricity. Think about that for a second, just how often you use the electricity or running water or whatever, in your home. And there's people who live here who were here before white man ever came to their shores. That we shove these people into areas, and we won't even give them the basic necessities, of life, of how to live. How are you supposed to survive in a situation like that? And that's right here in America. There's also Native American tribes that we know existed, that we completely, damn near, committed genocide against them, wiping them off the face of the population. And they don't even, so maybe one or two of them, existed, at and we don't even recognize them. So they don't get, Indian reparations, nothing, because we refuse to, acknowledge that they ever existed. In Washington State, where I live, there's a lot of tribes that that were once in existence that are no longer here, and they've completely wiped them off the face of the earth, either by disease, or they shot and killed them, incarcerated them, or they relocated them to other areas and said, "You live here now in the middle of nothing. You can find a way. I'm sure you can." God never meant for us to treat others this way. No, He didn't. We got a minute and 40 seconds left to break. Minute 40. Oh, yeah. It's still going on. Very much. And sadly, it really is, Sal. No running water, sewer, or electricity. No electricity. I mean, well, you better hope you have solar or something. How the hell are you going to have a cell phone or anything? And we are back. All right. So, of the Highway of Tears books, this is one by Jessica McDermott. And it's a wonderful book. I have this in my actual personal collection. I have the paperback. Now, I give this a 5 star for being factual and checking it. If you want to read more about the Highway of Tears, that if you're watching this afterwards, or maybe you can do it now, depending on the device you're on, you can click on that blue thing. That is a link to the Amazon where you can find this book. It's an easy read. It doesn't, get into like, a lot of like technical jargon without explaining to you what the the different terms, and initials mean. This is not an affiliate link. As we all learned last week, my affiliate, deal is completely kibosh now, and I'm still working on trying to set one up with Amazon. But I'm not paid to give this review at all. But I give this book by Jessica, a five star, 4.5, 5 star out of five for overall. I have the book and I've read this book several times over the course of like maybe the last year. So it's a very good book if you want to read more about it. Again, I am not paid to do this. That is not an affiliate link. That is just a link off of Amazon. All right, this poll question you do not have to answer now. It'll be on Monday on my actual community tab on YouTube. But should the US federal government be allowed to carry out capital punishment? In case you didn't know, we had a moratorium on capital punishment until Donald J. Trump was elected the first time. And then he renewed the use of capital punishment in the federal system. There are certain states that have, a moratorium on it or have abolished the death penalty altogether here in America. But should the U.S. federal government have the ability to carry out capital punishment, either A, yes, B, no, C, maybe, depends on the case, or D, I have no opinion, I just want a Pepsi. Again, you don't have to answer this now. This will be on YouTube tomorrow and on the community tab to be able to, you can answer it there along with the hundreds of other people, and then, leave a comment, on top of, answering the question. I'd appreciate it. All right, question number 11. What did the RCMP say was going to be the number one challenge hindering solving the Highway of Tears murders? Was it A, funding, B, next to no help from communities, C, remote geography, or D, not enough staffing, or E, other? What did the RCMP say was going to be the number one challenge hindering solving the Highway of Tears murders? I saw kids as young as 10 huffing gasoline on the reservation. Sad, many living conditions are horrible, says the Finn. That is sad as hell. The first time, I'm not joking, the first time I ever even knew that was a thing, huffing gas or paint, I was in, I want to say Boston, Massachusetts, or I was close to Boston. I might have been in one of the suburbs, okay? But it was the first time I ever seen that, or when I didn't see the guy actually do it, I saw the aftermath of it. I kept on seeing these people with gold colored, sparkly stuff on their face. And I thought, well, maybe there was like a rave or something going on, and these people are leaving that. Because, sometimes at raves, people throw glitter around and stuff like that. But someone explained to me, no, those people you see with that gold stuff on their face, it's because they spray the spray paint into a bag and then they huff the fumes from that and they get paint on themselves, on their faces and on their hands. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they huff paint. It gets them high, but it basically liquefies their freaking brain, is what it's doing. They're liquefying it. That is just sad as hell. I had no idea that people would even do something stupid like that. But, it happens apparently. But I've never seen children do it, though. I would be sad as hell to see that. Or see, the after effect of it. I huffed gas as a kid. Crazy shit. I thought I was stuck in time, like a millisecond of time. Scary as heck. Kitty coo. Good evening, Lexi. Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right, what was the RCMP say was going to be the number one challenge for hindering the solving of the highway of Tears murders? The answer is C as in cat, the remote geography of the actual crimes itself. There's nothing around on this entire. When you take the entire thing, of the Highway of Tears, the 450-mile area, and you break it down, and you look at it, from a topographical standpoint. There's nothing around, and some of these murders and where these dump sites are, they're not like right off, right next to the roadside. Some of them are, yes, but a vast majority of them are off, maybe 100 yards or 50 yards off of the freeway into like a thick, dense forest, area. So there's not a lot of services around, and you got to find it, then you got to be able to bring it, people there to investigate the crime. But the RCM piece of the number one thing, it's going to be a hindrance to us, is going to be the remote geography of these actual, crimes where they took place, where we found the victim, or we found, possible signs if someone was murdered there. Maybe they find on a gravel road a lot of blood and some fabric. Well, something definitely happened here. You got to investigate it, but it might be 75 miles, from between where that crime scene is and where the nearest RCMP officer is. By the time you get there, is it contaminated? That's hard to say. Question number 12. How many women are listed on the reserve list? This is the reserve list, not the official list, the reserve list, meaning the RCMP cannot confirm they are victims of the Highway of Tears. Is it A, 34, B, 89, C, 210, D, 470, or E, other? Alexei Ballard, C. Question number 12 of 20. Hey, good evening, Barking Pumpkin. I'm glad you could be here with us tonight for trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. How many women are listed on the reserve list? Again, make sure you understand this completely. There is a list of all the confirmed victims or people who vanished between 1960 and 2023. All those women are listed on one list. Then there's the list of victims from 2023 onward, and then there is a list again of reserve. They cannot confirm that these women actually vanished, on the high are victims of the Highway of Tears. How many more are there? Question number 12 of 20. Question number 12. I think we all have done dumb things when we were kids. I'm just glad I did all the dumb shit that I did as a teenager and as a young man before the internet and cell phones were so prevalent. No one's got video of that they're going to throw out there, tomorrow afternoon. I did all my dumb shit before the internet and cell phones were a thing. Now everywhere something happens, you got 50 people standing around with a cell phone taking video of it. Look at that man. He's getting his head stomped, in on the blacktop. I'm going to film that instead of interacting, and stop trying to stop the assault. They get out their video, their camera. Oh, I'm going to go viral on TikTok or something with it. It's sad. I've done a lot of dumb stuff, and yes, Will, LOL. All right, question number 12 of 20. The correct answer is B as in boy, 89. There are 89 other women who are on the reserve list. They cannot confirm are victims of the Highway of Tears. What are these other 89 women? The other 89 women are women they believe may have come to um, something else happened to them, either a boyfriend or an ex-husband or something else, made them disappear, and they may not have been anywhere near the highway of tears, Highway 16. Maybe they were in a village, and they said that they were going to go to Prince George, within a week, but they vanished on a Tuesday. But there are other circumstances and more information about that leads them to believe that these other 89 women are not, victims of the Highway of Tears. I did a few dumb things like hitchhiking in the 70s. Lucky I didn't run into Bundy. I looked like his girl murdered. Who? Yeah, that's a good thing. Yes, it is. Question number 13. It is a large number, Carly. According to the RCMP in 2004, how many serial killers did they say could have been working Highway 16, the Highway of Tears, from 1960 going forward? Was it A, 9, B, 10, C, 2, or D, 3, or other? You got that right, Will. You can never run for office. You've done some dumb stuff in the past. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably doing dumb stuff now that people don't agree with. I got picked up by a male teacher, and he took me home and scolded me. I've I've never hitchhiked before. Now I've accepted a ride after my car broke down. I used to have a little what is it, Chevy Sprint, little tiny car. It was like a pop can on wheels. But I broke down in that car. Yeah, this is the weirdest thing. That the thing would just act up, out of nowhere, and it would just like stop working altogether. But I accepted a ride from a total stranger one time when it broke down. According to the RCMP in 2004, how many serial killers did they say could have been working on Highway 16, the Highway of Tears, from 1960 going forward? The correct answer to question number 13 is C, as in cat. They speculated that there could have been two serial killers who may have been traveling this 450-mile stretch of road between 1960 and current, up to 2004. There may have been two, but they never did say that, hey, it definitely was two, or it was definitely three, but they speculated it could have been two. The youngest victim of the Highway of Tears was just 14 years old. Monica Inglis remains were found in a shallow pit just off of Highway 16. She was 14 years old, the youngest victim. Will, do you carry a can opener to open doors? No. Never did drugs though. I was lucky. But the youngest victim of the Highway of Tears officially is 14 years of age. Question number 14 of 20. What year did the Canadian government finally put enough resources and funding behind solving these murders? Was it A, they never have, B, 1972, C, 1999, D, 2016, or E, other? I don't remember what kind of car it was. The guy that picked me up after my car broke down was, I think it might have been like a Ford Taurus or a Ford Tempo. I can't remember. I mean, not that I paid all that close attention to it. I was just like, yeah, I need a ride. I mean, I can't stand here in the middle of the freeway forever by myself. I mean, I pushed my car down so it was off of like the side of the road. You could push those suckers, a long ways. Because again, they're those little sprints, they're just pop cans on wheels. Two little gerbils running around, for the horsepower in that thing. I really do think it only had like 120 horsepower. The car, it was pathetic. Trying to go uphill, you put your foot all the way to the floor, you would lose like 10 to 15 miles an hour just going up a hill. Barking Pumpkin and Seclusion Works are going with D. So it's Gianna Marie. Question number 14 of 20. When did the Canadian government finally put enough resources and funding behind solving these murders? The correct answer is D as in dog. In 2016. They finally put enough resources, and funding behind actually solving it. 2016. Again, the first official victim was found, their remains was found in 1960. In 2016, they finally put enough resources behind and funding behind it to actually try to solve the Highway of Tears murders. Question number 15. The indigenous population had been beginning for someone to help begging for, it should have been begging, should have been begging for someone, not beginning, for someone to help since the middle of the 1960s. When did the government finally finish their investigation into the murders? Was it A, in 2025, B, in 2024, C, in 2000, or D, in 2019, or E, other? The indigenous population had been begging for someone to help since the middle of the 1960s. When did the government finally finish their investigation into the murders? The sprints were good for not getting a date, like a Yugo. I had a red one with tan interior. We've owned, just about every, on that line of cars when it comes to the Chevy, little, pop can on wheels. We've owned every single variation of them over the years, and we own one right now. Me and my wife. My wife uses it as a commuter car to go back and forth to work. But I've had like the Sprint, I've had the Metro, I've had the Prism, I've had, and now the Aveo. But they're all pretty much the same thing, from the Sprint all the way to the Aveo. Excuse me. When did the government finish their investigation into the murders? Question number 15 of 20. The correct answer to question number 15 of 20 is D as in dog. In 2019, by finishing their investigation into the murders, it did not mean that they solved the murders. They determined who was murdered and what was the likely cause of each of the bodies that they had been collecting up, or the bones and the remains that they had found. They finally put together the official list of the murder of all these and vanishings of the bodies they had. Now, please do not get this wrong and misunderstand this. There are a lot more people that are missing than are on any of the three lists. A lot more between 1960 and 2023, plus the ones that are on that list. There are a lot more that are missing. But they finally finished the investigation into the murders by determining these ones are not likely to have been murdered or disappeared along the highway of 16. These ones were most likely at the hands of someone in their community, or a husband, else, a stranger abduction and murder in their community. And these ones are more likely, to be a victim. Again, that was the investigation, not the finishing of the investigation of like, okay, we know who killed Monica, we know who killed Stephanie, and so on and so on down the list. Yeah, and the investigation is still open. They just finally determined in 2019 which ones are more likely that they are victims of the highway of tears and those who are not. And that is where we come up with the three different lists that are out there. Question number 16. On May 5th of every year since 2016, Canadians celebrate the Red Dress Day. What is Red Dress Day? Is it A, it marks the anniversary of the Indian Wars? B, the anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II? C, awareness of Indigenous Women Day? Or D, Red Hat Day is the 4th, followed by the 5th, which is Red Dress Day? Or E, other? On May 5th of every year since 2016, Canadians celebrate the Red Dress Day. What is the Red Dress Day? We got C, question mark from Kitty. And C, and C, and C, and C. Well, C seems to be a popular choice. Pippa is going with C as well. My card. C. And there's a question. Rykart, in your travels of the highways of the United States, do you ever have to go into Canada? Do you have to do international cross-border shipping? I don't know. I just throwing out there. You can answer that question if you want. If you don't wish to, you don't have to. But we know you're all over the United States. But do you ever have to go into, across the bridge into Canada from like Michigan or something, from Detroit, I guess? All right, question number 16. The correct answer is C as in cat. Awareness of Indigenous Women's Day is always celebrated on May 5th of every year. Awareness of Indigenous Women's Day. Question number 17. In the United States of America, what year did the FBI start looking into the Highway of Tears murders and vanishings? Was it A, 1963, B, 1999, C, 2024, D, 1980, or E, other. I couldn't, RRH couldn't get into Canada. My semi, because of a DUI I had a long time ago. I had a friend who was stopped at the border over a DUI. He had it when he was like 18 and he was like 60 years of age. And they said, nope, you got to get a letter, or something from your government or somebody about it. I think it was the Canadian government had to allow him to come in. But he crossed it like dozens of times before then and after. So they have a whole day every year, but don't really care. Not the people, but the government. Yep. Kinniku is going with B, question mark. Sal, B. RRH is going with B as well. The Finn, C. Seclusion works, C. Anna Marie is going with B. In the United States of America, what year did the FBI start looking into the Highway of Tears murders and vanishings? Question number 17 of 20. The correct answer for question number 17 is D as in dog. 1980, the FBI started looking into the murders and vanishings of along the Highway of Tears. And the only reason why was because of two serial killers the FBI was tracking at the time who had crossed over into Canada and had come back. And they wanted to know if these serial killers that they were tracking, if they had gone into Canada to commit actual murders. Now, there have been serial killers in Canada, and we've had serial killers who lived in Alaska who traveled into Canada as well. A very famous one would be Israel Keys, traveled from Alaska into, Canada quite a bit. And, down into, Washington State, northern Idaho as well, Israel Keys did. But there have been serial killers in Canada by themselves. So don't think you're being left out on the serial killer list, Canada. You guys have got some awful people just like we do, just not as many. I'm sorry. You're all too nice up there. All right, but 1980 is when the FBI started looking into it, when they were investigating two serial killers. Question number 18. What forensic breakthrough in 2012 connected Bobby Jack Flowers to multiple murders and disappearances along the Highway of Tears? Bobby Jack Flowers. Was it A, a living eyewitness, B, DNA evidence, C, a jailhouse confession, D, a partner in crime ratted him out, or E, other? I don't want to go into Canada for anything. A trucker friend of mine goes there all the time. Yeah, and Israel Keys was a dumbass. I can't believe he didn't think that there was going to be, CCTV that was going to be watching that ATM. Dumbass. So that's Cinco de Mayo. May 5th. Every year. Kinniku, B, question mark? What forensic breakthrough in 2012 connected Bobby Jack Flowers to multiple murders and disappearances along the Highway of Tears? The correct answer is B as in boy. B as in boy. DNA is a forensic connection. But breakthrough in 2012, Bobby Jack Flowers was connected to the disappearance of multiple, and all I could find was they kept on referring to him as connected to multiple disappearances over and over again. That his DNA was found on a shirt, on a button, on a shirt that was not connected to the actual murder that they know he committed. He was positively identified to connected to another one through DNA where they have an actual body, but the other ones are vanishing. They don't know if the individual who was wearing these items is an actual, are they dead, or and maybe it was just shit that was discarded in the forest somewhere. They don't know. Is there a body somewhere nearby that's buried? They don't know, but they're listed as vanishings. But Bobby Jack Flowers. Question number 19. How many disappearances has Bobby Jack Flowers been connected to, yet not charged with any crime connected to them? Is it A, 16, B, 10, C, 8, D, 1, or E, other? How many disappearances has Bobby Jack Flowers been connected to, yet not charged with any crime connected to them? Again, like I was just saying, there have been multiples of the individual being connected to it through DNA, but they don't know if the person's been murdered. Oh, Rackart, there he was headed to hell. They made him read all of Chad Daybell's books. Half Price Books has stopped selling Chad Daybell's books. Half Price Books. But I think just about anybody else out there who has them are still selling them. I don't know if they're still in production or not. I would assume that they are. What, man, was it Half Price or was it Powell? It might have been Powell Books. Now that I think about it, it's one of them. One of the online retailers for used books. I still subscribe to the Alvarez, which is a website for books. I still subscribe to their newsletter and a couple of others on rare manuscripts. I'm still interested in that part of my past, but I'm still following, and that was it was in one of the newsletters that I read about one of those companies stopped carrying it after he was convicted. Chad published his own books. Kind of, sort of. It's a very small press that he actually used. There's only 3 employees of the press. They've changed their name like three or four different times over the years, but originally they were called White Wolf Publishing, and they're basically a print on demand kind of place. Kind of like Amazon does the same thing, print on demand. There's a lot of books that you'll see on Amazon that it's like, okay, you can have this book, but you have to wait until like the 15th of the month. You have to give us like 4 days because they don't print them until somebody buys them. But that's what the company that did his books did. He was actually interviewed back before, I think before the guy who owns the business. He was interviewed around the time before I think they knew what happened to the children, or shortly thereafter. I just remember seeing an interview with him, the guy who owned the business. But again, they're not called White Wolf Books anymore, and I couldn't tell you what they are because I don't frankly care too much about them. But there are a lot of companies out there that are like that, though, that print on demand. I'm sure Armchair and Zav Girl are probably selling all his boring books. I don't know about Armchair. He definitely believes in some wacky theories, though. I haven't followed or kept up with Zav Girl in a long time. Chad Daybell, Idius Maximus. All right, question number 19. How many disappearances has Bobby Jack Flowers been connected to? The correct answer is C as in cat, 8. There are 8 women that he has been connected to through disappearances. Again, they do not know if he murdered them or not, but 8 total. Question number 20. In 2010, the RCMP recommended that one of the way to halt these murders was to do what? Yet, as of 2024, 14 years later, the Canadian government hasn't done it. Was it A, stricter laws punishing murder? B, better public transportation? C, openly talking to indigenous, population? Or D, locking up Barry Morphew? Or E, other? In 2010, the RCMP recommended one of the ways to halt these murders was to do what? Doing Wade Wilson? There are a lot of people who are fanboys and fangirls of Wade Wilson. I don't understand it, but there are. I see them all the time, different channels, putting out new, the newest, what's Wade Wilson doing today? Where is Wade Wilson? I don't understand it at all. The fascination with Wade Wilson. You probably saw Chad Daybell's shadow at the Watts home. It's a good one. In 2010, the RCMP recommended one way to halt these murders was to do what? The correct answer is B, as in boy, better public transportation. If there was a way for people besides hitchhiking or ride sharing and questionable, reliability of cars, if they had some kind of transit system that went from these smaller communities to larger communities, they could halt a lot of these disappearances right off the get-go. Think of it as like a Greyhound bus system. If they just had something that went from point A to point B that was more reliable and ran more than once a month or twice a month, they could, a lot of these people wouldn't disappear if they had a better public transportation system. But nothing from the government has changed it all in 14 years since the recommendation came down. Oklahoma, that is in the United States, just above the state of Texas, has the largest population of missing presumed dead Native Americans, with a total of 109 are presumed dead at this point between 1950 and 2022. That is the reason why 2022 is because that's the last year of the studies that I found. I found them going back from 1970 in the 80s, 90s, but in 2022 was the last year I could find. Maybe they just stopped, tracking them. But Oklahoma has the largest population of presumed dead Native Americans. 109, where they don't know. They just vanished without a trace. Nobody knows where they are, but 109 in just the state of Oklahoma. How did you do on tonight's trivia? Again, this is completely optional. You do not have to give yourself a letter grade. Some people like to keep track of how many they got right. It doesn't mean that anyone is better than anyone else at this. If you're new here, next time we do trivia, and you can come in and you can use phone a friend, the internet, ask your hubby who's sitting on the couch watching a football game right now. Ask them if they might know the answer to it, whatever it might be. It's not cheating if you use another resource. Heck, I don't care how you come up with the answer, logic, deduction, whatever. We are playing for fun and for entertainment only. We do this every single Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's on the west coast of the United States. 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Every single Sunday. Again, this is the 338th episode of Trivia Night. Next, don't leave yet. We still have the missing and endangered to come. You could help solve a cold case or a missing person today. I am excited to share again with a collaboration with several incredible organizations to help raise awareness for missing and endangered individuals. These include the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which tirelessly works to locate missing children and prevent exploitation. The Charlie Project, an invaluable database documenting missing person cases from around the United States. The FBI, which investigates critical cases involving missing persons, along with they have the second largest. You would think the FBI would have the largest database of missing persons, but they only have what other law enforcement agencies report to them, where the Charlie Project has more. And then there's also NAMUS, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, which provides tools and resources to solve missing persons and unidentified person cases from around the United States. With that said, the first one tonight is Alan Lee Allen, age 70 as of 2024. Alan Lee Allen disappeared from Jacksonville, Florida in 2019. The last place that he was seen was in Duval County. Where he was in Duval County, you'll see there underneath details. The last place he was seen was he was being released from the Duval County jail. Was the last time that he was seen. He weighed 165 to 180 pounds. He stands 6 foot tall. He does have a large tattoo on his left upper arm. He may have additional tattoos, but nothing was listed on the county website for when he was booked into jail back in 2019. What was he in jail for? On a petty charge that was later dropped altogether, and that's why he was released. They had a case of mistaken identity for why he was there. Now, Allen suffers from memory issues. And depending upon which database you look, it was either dementia or early Alzheimer's symptoms, or it was just a memory issue. But he is easily convinced to do and go places he shouldn't. He's always been, and according to what I read online, he is described by his friends as a friendly, go lucky individual who would help anyone out that he could, but was very gullible in the aspect that people were always able to convince him to do things that he didn't necessarily shouldn't do and shouldn't be in places. But the tip line that is there on their screen in red, 904-630-0500. You can remain anonymous if you know anything about what happened to Alan Lee Allen. Again, the last official sighting was in 2019. There have been 2 unofficial sightings after that date, but those are the last ones when he was seen and being released from the county jail. He had a paper bag with his belongings in it that he had when he was arrested. But again, they dropped the charges against him because it was mistaken identity. It was not him for why he was in the Duval County Jail. If you know anything, you can remain anonymous. If you don't want to call that number, you can leave a tip with your local law enforcement, state patrol, or whatever. But you can call that number, and if you know anything, if you've seen him since that date, since 2019, I know it's 5 years, but it's unlike him to disappear without telling anyone where he was going. But he could have relocated, and then his memory issues got worse, and he could be somewhere in a retirement village for people with memory issues. We don't know. Next is Lamar Michael Shull. He is age 77 as of 2024. He was last officially seen in Bartow, Florida in 2013. Vanished from, nobody knows officially, because Lamar Michael Shull, he didn't like people. He was a very quiet, individual, and he wanted to stay off the radar from a lot of people. He didn't trust outreach programs or anybody else that he didn't know. And if you walked up to him and you said something to him or asked him a question, he would most likely not answer you. But he vanished without a trace from a homeless veteran. He was a homeless veteran of the U.S. Army. He served 16 years in the United States Army. He could have been housed, but he preferred living his lifestyle than out on the streets. And before you think that, look at those pictures. That man probably had a substance abuse issue, and that's what happened to him. Nope. Lamar was not a user of drugs or alcohol, and he avoided being around people that used alcohol. He wouldn't want anything to do with you. If you opened a beer, he'd just walk away from you. He didn't want to be anywhere near you. Did he have a history of it in his past? Maybe, but again, as a homeless veteran, they were trying to get him off of the street and into a housing situation, into a group, village with other veterans. But he refused, and he wanted to stay out on the streets where he was. You can't solve all issues out there with people that are homeless, and he was one of them. Lamar just didn't want to be around other people, and he liked to be by himself. According to his one friend who only went by the initials HL, he said Lamar was known for picking up aluminum cans and other things and taking them to a local recycling center, and then he would earn money that way, and then he would treat himself to something nice, but then he would always buy something for somebody else who had less than him. Even in whatever happened to him, at the end, somebody knows what happened to him. Somebody knows where he is today. The lower picture there is from his last known driver's license photograph, but the top one is what he looked like just about every day. But you can leave, again, that number is on the screen in red there. You can leave a tip on that tip line and remain anonymous. 863-534-5034. And remember, just because it's today's headline story doesn't mean they are forgotten tomorrow. We need to bring home the West boys, Orrin and Orson West. We know what the outcome is and what happened to Orrin and Orson West, but we don't know where their bodies are. They have not been found. Even though there are rumors on the internet that somebody, who was, has an idea of where they are. No, law enforcement has no idea what Jacqueline, and them did with the boys. But they've both been convicted of their murders and are doing an awfully long time in prison. But just because it's today's headlines doesn't mean they're forgotten tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for playing along tonight for trivia. Out of the Shadows with Ginger of late going to watch replay. I hope you had a great weekend, Ginger. And Cement Shoes. Good evening, everyone. I just woke up. Hate to be so late. Yeah, it's okay, Cement Shoes. You're more on time right now than those who are not here. Just remember that. I hope you had a great weekend, though. Otherwise, Cement Shoes. Hope you're being able to stay safe and warm out there. Been some miserable weather across the United States. California is on fire. Other parts of the country are buried underneath snow and ice. And other parts are getting flooded out. Wild, wacky January to start the new year. Good night, Gianna Marie. You take care. Cement Shoes has been a member for 49 months. Thank you very much, Cement Shoes, for every single one of those 49 months that you've been a channel member. Thank you, Will and Chat and Mods. Thank you, the Finn. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock on the Eastern time zone, we play trivia every single week. Lemon Pie. Hey, guys. Couldn't be here earlier. I'm sorry, Lemon Pie. But you can watch and rewind. Ta-da! There's always that. How do I get a member? How do you become a member? You join. It's $1.99 a month to become a channel member. I say $1.99 because I think the 99-cent tier is filled. If not, it's darn close to getting filled because each one of them has a cap on how many members can be in each and every one. Kitty coo. Thank you, Will and Mods and Chat. Thank you. I love the howling werewolf voice on your recent video. Bad weather for everyone. Please stay safe, chat. And have a great week. Thanks, Mint. Bye, Will, and bye, Lemon Pie. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's definitely been a wild, wacky, January so far. My heart goes out to anybody with that, especially in California. And I did see that a couple of fine art museums burned to the ground, and we lost priceless artwork that was in both of those museums, and that's devastating. Because now the only way that those artworks are ever going to exist are in catalogs or in books, and you're never going to get a chance to see them in person. Works that can never be replaced. Well, good, Jamie. I hope you have a terrific week ahead. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I do not. I would tell everybody what next week's trivia subject is, but I haven't finished one yet for next week. I'm always working on 3 or 4 of them at the same time, and none of them are complete right now. Pray for California, yeah, and those who are being flooded in the upper part of of U.S. and others who have been covered up by snow and ice. It's been terrible. It's been a terrible week. Otherwise, did you remove the recent Taco podcast video, Will? No, I didn't. I didn't have a choice in that. YouTube, in their infinite freaking wisdom, they removed the most recent Taco podcast because they said that me and my wife shared information that was possibly harmful to others. What did I say in that video? I said there has been no connection between autism and vaccinations. Vaccinations do not cause autism. And YouTube said that that is harmful information. For over 30 years, the American Medical Association, the CDC, and immunologists around the world have all agreed that there is no connection between autism and vaccines. One asshole put out one paper saying that there was a connection between the MMR vaccine and the cause of autism. He was discredited. He lost his license to practice medicine and chastised for the last 30 years online for what he did. And the medical community is still fighting against it today. Well, in the Taco podcast, I mentioned it again for the fourth time. From episode 1 all the way to this episode, we've mentioned it 4 times. YouTube took down the video, blocked it, and I will find out sometime tomorrow if the Taco podcast is going to exist after this, or if they're just going to suspend my activities and ability to do, upload videos, do live streams, and everything else from anywhere from 7 to 30 days is what I'm looking at. That's good. So we're hoping for one of those, either a 7-day ban or a 30-day ban. But let me keep the channel and all the content. But that was YouTube. In my appeal to all of it, because they went through every single video, and every time that we mentioned that in the history of the Taco podcast, we mentioned anything about there was no connection between vaccines and the cause of autism. No connection at all. They gave me a community copy, strike, every single one of them. And then they took down that video. The other videos are still there. They just have community guideline strikes against them. So I'll never make any money off them. Not that we've never made a dime on the Taco podcast anyways. But we don't do it, to make money. We do it to just to share our experiences, as a couple living a middle class existence and trying to survive in this world. That's what the Taco podcast is all about. But yeah, that was all this morning. 2:00 this morning, man, my phone just started blowing up. I thought something serious happened to one of my friends because I was just like bing, 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 just nonstop for like 20 minutes. Every time they gave me another. It started off. You got a warning. Then the warning escalated immediately to a copyright, community guideline strike, and that for every single one of the videos where I mentioned it 4 times. So that was 16 total, I think, emails. Then I got, ones about, from them about this video is being taken down. This video is being, could be demonetized. Not that it ever was, but I mean, so all together, I think I got 21 emails at 2:00 in the morning from YouTube. So that's what happened to it. I didn't take it down. They did. Again, we'll find out tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow, what they're going to decide to do. Ban me from 7 days or 30 days or delete the channel altogether. They could. And I put out a video about it this morning. It was about closer to 2:30. Might have been later when it finally launched, but that's when I filmed it, about 2:30 this morning. You never saw that Taco podcast? Was going to watch it yesterday after I had finished my driving, but never was able to watch it. I'm sorry. But yeah. Now they deleted it. Kitty Q has been a channel member for 7 months as an investigator. Thank you, Kitty Q. And to each and everyone else who is a channel member, I really appreciate it. The channel memberships, that and the merchandise, hats and t-shirts and stuff like that is the only way that, this channel or my other channel survives. That's the truth. Yeah, all this costs money. This electricity, lights, bulbs, everything, cameras, all of it costs money. But I can't survive on 8/10 of a cent per view from every and people who watch my content. I mean, it's so channel memberships, and merchandise sales. That's what keeps it all alive. Well, I'm sorry you never got a chance to see it, right, Cart? If they don't shut the Taco Podcast channel down or ban it outright, delete it, um, we could re-edit it, edit the video again, that podcast episode, taking that part out, obviously, and then re-upload it. But if they give me a 7-day ban, obviously I can't upload it within 7 days. If they give me a 30-day ban, then I can't upload it. I can't do a live stream. I can't do anything with the channel at all. It's just locked down. You can't do anything. You can't even log in to check your messages or comments that are left. If it's 30 days, then we can edit it and put it back outwards, removing that part. But we have no idea. But we right now we are at the maximum for community guideline strikes. We have 3 active on that channel right now, and it got them all this morning at 2 a.m. Well, why does YouTube just do that? Will let you re-edit it, right? Wouldn't that be nice, Pippadot? What's your other channel? Taco Podcast. The Finn. Taco, as in taco you eat. That's my son's nickname. His nickname is Taco. But and then podcast. But yeah, I would love to be able to edit it. And I've done that for so many other things where they age gate content. That have a lot more than you guys will ever understand. Where they age gate it, they determine that there's harmful content in it. So it can't be pushed out through the algorithm to just anybody. It has to be people that only are 18 years or older or and above, not 17, not 16, not 15, not 13. The 18 years of age or older. So I'll take those videos and I take them down and I edit them and I relaunch them, to appease the algorithm and YouTube. But they didn't give me that option. And the worst thing about it is I gave them links to the American Medical Association, the CDC, and I gave them the factual information. What I said and what my wife said in that video, in the podcast episode, is 100% factual. I could scream from the top of the mountain, that I'm right, but they don't care. And I highly doubt that they even bothered to click on the links to the American Medical Association or the CDC. I don't think that they had time to look at it because immediately, as soon as I peeled it, I lost almost immediately. I should say it was probably about 5 minutes, and I lost that appeal. And then the next appeal from a video, a podcast episode from like a year and a half ago, and the other one was from 3 years ago, and the other one was 4 years ago. Where each time along that way, it came up in conversation during the podcast. So, and they ding me for each and every one of them. So we have 3 active strikes right now, that 4 total, but 1 expired a long time ago, and that was for what was it that we got that? Oh no, that wasn't a community. That was an actual copyright, because somebody tried to say that I was using their copyrighted material music in the intro, which it wasn't. It wasn't theirs at all, but they tried to. But that went away a long time ago. Yeah. 0.8 of a cent. Yep. That's ridiculous. Well, Rykart, it give you a little more information on that. Before the ad apocalypse, you'll probably find a lot of other YouTube creators out there that talks about the ad apocalypse. This happened about 3, almost 4 years ago, when a lot of advertisers, and this is what the ad apocalypse is, a lot of advertisers found out that their ads, like Pepsi, Allstate, whatever, these companies that they're paying YouTube to advertise their, put commercials on their platform. They found out that their content, their commercials were running on content that they didn't like. Either it was, transphobic, or it was hate speech, or maybe they, the owner of the company, found out that their ads were running on a channel that has to deal with firearms, whatever it was. But they found out that YouTube could not pick a way to run their ads on content that they didn't find offensive in some manner. But so they went to YouTube and said, you either pull all of our commercials off of this and give us back our money, or you make damn sure that our content, our commercials don't run on this stuff anymore. And YouTube said, we don't know how to do that. So a lot of these companies pulled their advertisement from YouTube, and that caused the ad apocalypse. Now, at that time of the ad apocalypse, I was making 4 cents per view on my content. It don't matter if you watch a second just to tell me you hate my content, or you watch the entire damn video, but I was making 4 cents. I only get paid once. It don't matter how long you watch. I get paid 4 cents the minute you click on it. All right. But that's what I was making then. I went from 4 cents to 0.8 of a cent. Yeah. Yay. Yeah, there's a shock to the wallet in a heartbeat. Yeah. Ooh, I was going to read the next comment there. Can it go to memberships only or on Patreon? No, cement shoes. I don't have that option. I can't make it unlisted. If I could show you what it looks like on my dashboard, I wish I could. The video is gone off the channel. You can see where it was, and it shows how many likes and comments are there. But when I click on it, it doesn't show me anything. The screen is blank, and it just says this video has been removed, and then it says community guideline issue underneath it. It's completely gone. Now, if I have the ability to re-edit it, I can make it channel member only and then put it back up. But I can't put it back up with that content, at all. What they disagree with. If I do that, I'm going to get another one. It doesn't matter if it airs out, because the Taco Podcast channel is never. We don't have enough. First, we don't have enough subscribers to become monetized on that channel. Nothing on there is ever going to run ads. And if you see ads on the Taco Podcast, that's 100% YouTube. The side banner overlays, unskippable commercials or ads, that's all YouTube. We don't get anything from that at all, ever. But if I uploaded it as is right now and I made a channel member only, I would get another strike. For that, because they scan it. They don't care where it's going if it's channel member only. If I upload it on Patreon, and that aspect, I'd have to find some place where, on Patreon, I don't think Patreon is going to have an issue with the content. What I say, I think they're a little bit smarter. Let's look at the actual information. And what's sad is, you can go on to YouTube right now and you can type in, do vaccines cause autism? And you can find a plethora of different content out there that will tell you that there is a connection between vaccines and autism. It's completely wrong, and I know I've seen it. I've even seen it on the Joe Rogan podcast. I've seen him spread misinformation like that, and it's absolutely mind-numbingly. It just makes me want to curse so much. That they would allow stuff like that to go out there, and those people have never lost their channel over it. I tell you the damn truth, and I get in trouble, and I'm facing a possible deletion of my entire channel over it. So, and the good thing is the Taco Podcast and the 411 now, this channel, are completely separate. They have different ISPs. This one runs on a completely different account from the other one, so they'll never be able to connect the two of them together and say, "Ha ha, he has that other channel." They're completely separate. Different, internet providers, different computers, everything is different. Even though we used to film some of them in here, of the episodes, completely separate. So they'll never be able to connect the two and shut this channel down for over something on there. I'm on Rumble. I don't have a channel, but I have Rumble. I've never been to Rumble. I've and thank you for those people out there who have emailed me this morning, and they're again Kitty Q with Rumble as an idea. I've gotten quite a few locals only. That one seems to be popular, but I don't know if the Taco Podcast would necessarily jive with locals only. It's more of a conservative Christian platform, and no, they're not an OnlyFans, a subsidiary or anything like that. They're not connected to them at all. But there have been quite a few different suggestions that I've gotten this morning and today. But I've never been on Rumble. I've thought about, maybe what eventually happens to, to all of this, down the road, if it keeps on going in this direction, that it's been heading, for a while, is maybe what I'll end up doing is just, closing everything down into one channel and then putting it on Nebula. Quite a few of my friends who are fellow creators are on Nebula. So maybe I'll do something like that. Because it's gotten a lot worse at times, and then gotten better, and then gotten worse again. It seems to go in an ebb and flow kind of thing, with YouTube and their content moderation. What is Nebula? I'll give you in a nutshell. What Nebula is. Nebula is kind of like you pay a subscription, a yearly subscription for the service, and then you get to watch, longer form content, videos, and stuff like that. That is creator, supported. Creators make the content, and there's no commercials or anything else that you have to, skip over. But it costs. It's very expensive, for just someone to casually want to watch it. Channel. But there are a lot of different creators out there. Tom Scott is on there. Better Engineering. It all depends on what you're into. But there are original series that are on there. It's kind of like a cross between YouTube and Netflix come together as one. New member here, Raging Cajun Milo. Bunch of YouTube creators have moved over to Rumble. That's what Kitty Q just suggested. Rumble as well. I'll look into it. I mean, I'm busy enough the way it is now, with what I'm doing. I don't need more work, but YouTube decided to drop this on me, again at 2:00 this morning. So I have no idea what they're going to do. If they shut the damn thing down, delete the channel altogether, the only way I'm going to be able to tell anybody is on the community post on this channel. It's the only way I'm going to be able to tell anybody. I can't go over to the to the Taco Podcast and tell people there. I mean, but I'm either going to get a 7-day suspension, so they won't let me do anything at all for 7 days, or I'm going to get a 30-day suspension, or they're going to delete the entire damn channel. It's one of three. And they've already outlined it for me. Well, first, the first community, issue, that's just a warning. The second one, you get a community copyright, a community strike. You get 3 of those, we can shut you down, is how they put it. We can. So, and then it lists all the different, suspensions. No live streaming, no commenting, no video uploads. Yeah. So, but maybe Rumble or something like that is where we should go with it. I don't know though. I don't have the answers right now. Just kind of waiting until tomorrow to see what YouTube wants to do. It's all I can do. I don't. There's nothing I can do. I can't appeal it anymore. I've already appealed each video, and I lost each and every one of them. So, and at this point, it's in the ball is on their side of the court, and I'm just waiting for them to, to decide what they're going to do. And it said that they will make their decision within, 24 hours. That makes it tomorrow. So, this all happened today. Something to talk about. Good evening. Sorry I'm late. Well, I'm about to wrap things up here. Something to talk about. I hope that everything works out. And I seen your community post that you guys didn't do a live stream, but I hope everything works out for you and Ginger. Ginger was here. She was not here now. She was here earlier. I've noticed that YouTube doesn't like to see happy couples like you and Crystal. they like the people who act like they are. And in the background, they're abusing the crap out of their kids, or doing something like that. Those people are on YouTube. Even their content's still out there, even though they were locking their kids in the house and in cages. They're still their videos are still on YouTube. It's amazing. Like the TikToker, YouTuber who killed those 6 migrant farmers in Florida. Okay, quickly I'll tell you about this. But he was a TikToker. He was 16 years old or 17 years old. Was driving 155 miles an hour in his daddy's car, and he hit a van full of migrant farmers, and he killed 6 people. He got 12 years in prison. 12 for taking 6 lives. But his content is still on YouTube. And all of it was dumb, stupid challenges and doing dumb things like him driving excessively. That's on YouTube. But hey, nothing I can do about it. I would love to, Raging Cajun. They give you one chance to appeal, and then once they made the decision, they don't care. I can't appeal it anymore. There's no way to actually appeal it, and there's no way to reach out to YouTube to have them say, "Hey, I gave you everything that you guys are accusing me of. I gave you guys links to the actual information from the American Medical Association and from the CDC. I laid it all out here. I gave it to you gift wrapped to show you that I wasn't doing anything wrong." And then you guys are like, "Nope, pink, nope, pink, nope, pink." You can't appeal it anymore. Once you've appealed it, and they've made the decision against you, that's it. You're done. So now I just wait for the other shoe to drop. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up this morning, this evening, this morning, whichever, depending on where you are. Tonight's trivia night. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight for trivia night. Again, every single Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States. We play trivia. This was the 338th episode of Trivia Night. But again, 20 questions, multiple choice every time, friendly group of people to chat with. It's fun and entertainment. We're only playing for that, fun and entertainment purposes. No one's better at it than anybody else. Guess, use the internet, do whatever you want to come up with the answer. But thank you again, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it. And I will see you all again soon. Bye.